Stock have too high a price? Buy a slice. Trade fractional shares of your favorite U.S. stocks and ETFs in any dollar amount you choose with zero commissions online. Get started at fidelity.com/stocksbytheslice. Fractional share quantities can be entered to 3 decimal places if the value of the order is at least 1 cent. Dollar-based trades can be entered to 2 decimal places. Sell orders are subject to an activity assessment fee from 1 cent to 3 cents per $1,000 of principal. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE, SIPC.
Number 1, Pickle, the mature one in the cucumber family. Now, cucumbers, what's a cucumber do, man, besides take up room in your salad? Its older brother. Ha ha ha. The pickle is a different thing. The pickle has a lot of worth, man. Pickle has identity. It's a little older. It's got some story.
Gather around the campfire, everyone, as we have something truly epic cooking this week in the AFK kitchen. Today's guest needs no introduction, but I will do one anyway because he's just that awesome. He's a master treehouse builder, the wildest pickle expert this side of the Mississippi. Oh, he's also an Academy Award winner, New York Times bestseller. He's Texas-born entertainment icon, Matthew McConaughey. The man with the green lights and the unforgettable all right, is joining us this week to talk about his debut children's book, Just Because, which is a celebration of life's quirks, its contradictions, and how they shape who we are. With his trademark humor, Matthew delivers a collection of life lessons that'll resonate with everyone, no matter your age. McConaughey is not just a legendary actor, though. He's a devoted community leader, husband, and father of 3. He's ready to share his thoughts, his insights, wisdom, and maybe even a few of his signature one-liners. Huddle in close and turn that dial. You are now tuned in to AFK with Ninja. Matthew, thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you, man?
Man, I'm good. You said you were doing pretty good. You said you were a tad stressed out. I'm doing pretty good, too. I got a lot going on. I got a little bit of stress going on, but nothing I can't handle. But overall, good, man. The family's pretty healthy.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I can say the same thing for the humans. That is, I'm the proud puppy parent of 3 beautiful dogs. And one of them lately has just been just kind of acting very strange. And they obviously can't communicate with us, right? So it's very difficult to find out what's actually going on with her when she's eating well, out of nowhere, just kind of running around. I know what our dog's triggers are, just massively loud noises, fireworks, things like that. And this morning, she was just kind of running around scared, shaking for no reason. It's very strange. And lately, she's had some issues with her pancreas. My wife and I are just been a little on edge.
Yeah, I know. And we usually find out what the heck our pets were, anxious about later. I mean, we got one that's the same. Fireworks or sirens or storms. And we had a storm here a few weeks ago. And when a storm comes, obviously the animals can kind of sense it before even us humans. Our dog, Cheesy, just trips out, loses all sense of spatial sense and any kind of compass and just runs. She got off property. That was at 7 p.m. At 4 a.m., we get a call from 2 fishermen that were going out in the morning to go fish the next day. So they thought they saw a nutrient swimming across the lake. And it was our dog, Cheesy, 1.5 miles from our house.
That is unbelievable. So she just took off, just running, booked it and
just ran, just booked it to nowhere in particular, hit the water and kept going and trying to swim to nowhere in particular. And gladly 2 fishermen found her at 4 a.m. Yeah.
4 a.m, right? They're trying to catch the fish always act up whenever there's a storm, right? It's always best for fishing.
I guess,
at least,
yeah.
I don't know, man. Well, thank God you found
good luck
Cheesy.
With that, man. Cheesy's back. I hope yours turns out all right.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we just got her on a new probiotic diet right now to get some healthy gut bacteria in there, which is something that I've actually been starting to do as well as a human in general.
Yep.
All the studies going on. Your gut is a direct link to your brain. And
yeah, man. I think there's something to that. I think you're right on that. I mean, I think we're finding out so much today about how, instead of prescribing or take this pill or that, go to the source.
Absolutely.
And it's what we're putting in our body, what we're breathing in through, I think it goes back to food, water, and air. What are we putting in us?
Dude, I've been going deep diving on fasting lately.
Yeah.
What you're not putting in, right? Like all the incredible things that happen in your body when you're denying it constant food and working. I mean, I actually had this thought the other day, and I don't think it's talked about enough, where, so you got to think all of your organs, sometimes your organs working super hard, sometimes they're not, right? You're drinking a lot, your liver's trying to detoxify, all those types of things. But from the moment you're born, unless you actually go out of your way to fast a little bit, 24 hours, 36 hours, whatever, like your stomach literally never stops working. You know what I mean? Like you're constantly digesting, and there's just always stuff going in, especially if you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right?
Yep.
3 meals a day, and you're not intermittent fasting. I think that's just crazy to think about how you just have this organ that is literally working constantly 24/7 for, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, what kind of fast are you doing?
So right now, I try my absolute hardest to do intermittent, which is like anywhere from, 14, 18 hours before I have like a meal. So my last meal will be at like 6 o'clock at night. That's what I'm going for. And then I won't eat until like noon. And occasionally I've been trying to do one 24-hour fast every week, at the very least.
Okay.
Yeah, once a week, 24 hours. And dude, it's maddening. Like sometimes, like it's such a different and unique feeling. Not having any coffee either, because I know you can do like black coffee as well, and that apparently doesn't break it. But I did like my first ever legitimate 24-hour fast with no caffeine, no creamer, like just literally nothing but water. And man, it like tests you mentally, man, for sure.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I like that intermittent or that skip breakfast fast quite a bit. But I'll do some 5 to 7 day full fasting like every 6 months. And the first few days they're tough, dude. You don't sleep. You notice how like you think it's like lunchtime and it's 10 a.m. You think it's like about to be sundown and it's 3 p.m. And you're like, time needs to speed up. And then you're not getting to sleep. But then your body kind of kicks in on that day 3 and says, okay, I get the drill. We're doing this. So let's cool out. And then it becomes a high, after that.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
So you've done 5 to, what's the longest fast you've ever done?
Longest fast, 2 weeks. 2
weeks. And this is obviously with water, right? You're not, you got to be.
Water, lemon, cayenne, and a little splot of maple syrup, and just carrying that around. Man, when I went for Dallas Buyers Club, I lost 47 pounds. I was losing 2.5 pounds a week. I was on this diet where it was 2.5 pounds a week, like clockwork. And I gotta say, all the strength and sort of leverage that I physically lost from the neck down, I gained, it sublimated from the neck up. I was like twice as sharp. I was clinically sharp, man. It was wild. I needed 4 hours less sleep a night. I'd wake up at 4:30 in the morning without an alarm, bam. Every morning, get up, get ready for the day. And that was kind of hard to be around maybe because I was too sharp. But
right.
I was acutely sharp, my mind was.
Yeah, I think that, it's one thing that I've noticed, especially with heavier meals or just, big meals in general. You just feel sluggish after. And my streaming schedule for me is I wake up, take the dogs out, take 2 of my boys for their walk, and then I'll just, glass of water, maybe a coffee, and then I stream from 8 to 12 or 8 to 1, so 12, like a 4 or 5 hour streaming session.
Yeah,
and I could go longer, but usually, and I feel great. I feel alert. I feel sharp. I feel ready. The entire time I feel witty. Sometimes I'm like I need a little caffeine maybe if I had like a rough night of sleep or whatever. But I'll usually almost always now end my stream early if I eat at like 11 or 10, 11:30.
Yeah.
Because I just feel sluggish. I feel slow.
It's like eating a bunch of bread at lunch or pizza or burger at lunch. You sit there and all of a sudden you're like, it's like you think it's Thanksgiving and the tryptophan all over again.
Dude, all the damn turkey, bro. Which is, by the way, I'm just completely off topic. I think turkey is incredibly overrated, even if you cook it right.
I'm with you. Dude, it cannot compete. It cannot compete with the yard bird. The chicken.
Chicken's incredible. Chicken brisket. Give me some brisket, dude. You know what I mean? Like I'll take a nice big ribeye for Thanksgiving,
100%. We'll throw a small turkey in for everyone to go, hey, it's a turkey.
Yeah.
But then we throw chickens in because everyone eats a chicken and goes, I prefer that.
Absolutely. And you know what, dude? People they'll learn. I think it's already starting to happen, right? My brother, is a massive, my oldest brother, John, he is huge into, you know, having everyone over at his house and cooking a big meal and stuff. And he's like, now I just make a brisket. Now I'm over. Turkey's trash. And difficult, right? I mean, how many people are burning their garages, dude, trying to.
I know. And they're damn hard to make moist. I mean, it's hard to have some white meat in a turkey be what you really want to eat.
Angels on his dragon, flying in the sky. Together they will.
Dude, so speaking of food, man, apparently you're the pickle expert, a resident pickle expert right now. Dude, I first off, I can get into how much I love them now, but can you tell us anything about pickles that we don't know?
I'm probably just going to remind you some things that you do know that maybe some of you out there didn't think about. But, all right, number one, pickle, the older brother or the mature one in the cucumber family. Now, the cucumber's like, what's a cucumber do, man, besides take up room in your salad? It really doesn't do. It has no taste. Yeah, it has a little... water, you can put it on your eye or what have you, but it really just takes up room in your damn salad. Now, its older brother, the pickle is a different thing. The pickle has a lot of worth, man. Pickle has identity. It's a little older. It's got some scars. It's got some wrinkles, some bumps on it. But man, when you take a bite of a good pickle, it's one of the most specific, most pleasurable taste of salt and crunch and cold sweetness that I have. It's my favorite midnight snack. I prefer a mini kosher dill or a dill gherkin. They got to be cold. They got to be firm. They got to be crisp. You want it to sound almost like a carrot. They're not as firm as a carrot, but you want it to be almost that firm. Pop. And a clean break. And that, I've got a menu of, 88 ways to eat a pickle. I've actually threatened myself to open up a pickle restaurant. 88 ways to eat a pickle.
I'll be a partner, man. I'll go 50s with you because that sounds incredible.
Doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, think of all the different cheeses or crackers or things. I mean, there's so many ways to eat a good pickle. So, yeah, I'm a big pickle fan. And I have usually 3 to 4 different kind of jars in my fridge at once. And that was my favorite midnight snack when I was 15, and it still is now, and I'm 53.
That's incredible, man. I have an incredible pickle story. A lot of people have been saying that, or it's proven it for me, that pickle's like one of the most incredible hangover cures of all time.
Oh, yeah.
If you drink it beforehand. All right. So I have a story, man. My wife and I, we were traveling. We were doing something for Red Bull at the time. We were traveling around Europe and hosting like little fortnight events here and there, and just kind of doing like a European tour, if you will, like a little mini European tour. It was dope. But one of the spots where we ended up having the final tournament was in Poland. Now, Poland gave us, when we finally got in our hotel room, Poland had this massive jar of like Polish pickles. Apparently, they're known for their pickles and vodka.
in the hotel room?
In the hotel room, dude. They have there's this basket of like, what they're known for. So this night, we have the pickles. They're up there. Jess, at this time, I didn't really mess with pickles too much, right? But my wife was diehard. Pickles are on her breath 24/7, and it was a problem for me because I couldn't stand them, dude. I couldn't stand them. Oh, but we go out to dinner with our crew and our team, and we're at this like 5-star restaurant in Poland. There's Michelin star restaurant, and they're serving like 5 or 6 courses, and there was a little shot of vodka beforehand, right? Yeah. That paired with like, and then a shot of vodka after to clear your palate. Like I would say half a shot, right? So it's not like we're getting absolutely just trashed. But by the end of it all, we're about 12 vodka shots in. And then we go right next door and do a tour of the vodka museum. There's a vodka museum right next door. So, and then we go to the casino in Poland, which was like right next, dude, it was bad. And I had to be up at like 6 or 7 a.m. to go on live TV and do an interview. And it's 3 a.m. We just finished gambling. We're back up in our room, and Jess and I are starving. And we just look at this massive jar of pickles, dude. And for no particular reason, we both chugged half of it. Like she chugged one half, I chugged the rest of the juice.
You chugged the pickle juice.
We chugged the juice, and we ate the entire jar of pickles. And then we went to bed and woke up 3 hours later, like completely like hangover free.
Fresh,
remarkable.
Look at that.
It was unbelievable.
The magic, the untapped magic of pickles. Don't underestimate their worth.
No, not at all, man. And I absolutely love what you said about the cucumber thing. I think that might go underrated here. They definitely take up room in your salad. They're very bland, almost no flavor. You know, I don't.
They
think
look
you've ever...
pretty. They're cute. I mean, but that's about it. You know, come on, out of the way. They got no character.
They don't. I like it. The older brother. I'll take a pickle any day of the week now. I'm a huge fan. Get it on all my chicken sandwiches, man. Big Mac at McDonald's. Come on. Cannot have them.
We're going AFK with Ninja. What's he gonna say? Oh my God, I can't believe we got Matthew McConaughey on AFK with Ninja.
Let's talk a little bit about your new children's book, Just Because. I read this thing 2 times. What was the development process like? Initial idea, inspirations?
Yeah. So I got kids 10, 13, and 15. And you got dogs, right?
Yeah. Kind of like kids. Okay.
Kind of, it's on the way. I think it goes, can you take care of a plant? Can you take care of a pet? Then it's take care of kids, right?
Yeah.
But you already, like you're talking about your dog, you and your wife are thinking anything you're doing right now, whether you're going to travel, whatever, you're thinking about your dog with the pancreatic problem. You're kind of seeing the world. You're considering your dog through everything you do, right? Well, when you have children, it becomes like you consider everything you do. Like, well, okay, what is this consequences for my children with this choice? Anyway, so I'm constantly thinking about that kind of thing and trying to be the best dad I can be. And besides thinking about it, I have dreams about it sometimes. So this Just Because book really was a dream. It was a ditty. It was like a Bob Dylan ditty that I had in my head out of nowhere. And I woke up at 2:30 in the morning going, just because they threw the dart doesn't mean that it's stuck. And just because I've got skills don't mean there is no luck. Dun, dun, dun. Just because you're wailing does not mean that you're a crier. And just because I lied does not mean that I'm a liar. Dun, 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 dun. And so I got up and I just start riffing this thing down like a riff, like a scat rap that rhymes. And I write for 4 hours. And all of a sudden I stop and I look at it and I got about 5 pages. What would be a very long song. And I go, all right, I'm going to go to sleep now. And I went to sleep for 5 hours and got up and then looked at what I'd written again, which I always like to do because sometimes those late night ideas, when after I sleep, I'll get up in the morning and I will go like, oh, that missed the mark. That wasn't as good as you thought it was. Well, I looked at this one. I was like, hey, man, that's fun. And then I started looking at it. I was like, hey, there's a bunch of couplets in here that are exactly conversations that I'm having with my children about things they're going through when they're confused or frustrated or wondering how they're supposed to feel about something. And so I picked out those, and those are what's in the book Just Because. It's couplets kind of just reminding children and parents, man, hey, it's not easy growing up and finding your identity and being a kid these days. And it's okay to feel 2 different ways about the same thing. It's okay to screw up today, but make amends tomorrow. It's okay to win today and then you fail tomorrow. So I found that, kids are so often today sort of being pressured to be absolute. You got to know, what you're doing, who you are, how you feel about this and how you feel about that. And I don't think that's really how it goes, man. Growing up being a kid's a time to learn and test things out and see how you feel and get the context of situations and relationships and kind of the poetry of life. And so this book is, I think, some proper leniency for kiddos growing up to have a conversation with themselves, their own friends, or maybe, conversation with their parents. It's a real conversation starter, I think, for some young people and their parents. And when I've talked to my kids about it, I've learned as much about myself as I learned about them.
Reflecting on what you just said, I definitely agree with you. I feel like there's this massive pressure for children in the world right now, especially in America, to just know, like you just said, know who you are. Like it's very early. And I think it's so strange because immediately, like when you said it took me right back to my childhood and like my parents. And, I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 91, so I'm 32 now. And I really do feel like my parents and my neighbors and their kids, I really do feel like we definitely had, at least me personally right now, I didn't feel pressured almost about anything about like my identity or like even what I wanted to be growing up. I think it was like the classic, what do you want to be? It wasn't like, tell me what you want to be because, you know, this is going to be the rest of your life. And my parents, they did a great job. They introduced me to all sorts of sports and all sorts of education. And I think they tried to get me to play an instrument. Like I took a music class when I was in like middle school. I didn't like it. I wasn't good at it. Then I started playing soccer and stuff. And, you know, when I was younger, I really liked that. So I stuck with that. And it definitely didn't feel like there was any pressure on me whatsoever. But I love that you're addressing that here.
That's how I was raised too, but I noticed that even my kids, it's not how Camilla and I raise them, but they feel pressure from the outside world. For instance, my daughter's, you know, was taking up a new sport. I was like, what are you nervous about? She was like, well, so do I need to be, you're asking me to become pro in this? I'm like, no, no. This is just some exercise. Go try it out for a semester, some team play. And if you end up not liking it, you know, we'll find something else, but don't feel that. No, I'm not asking you. You ain't got to be pro in this.
I love the energy though. Like,
yeah.
Am I going pro in this, Dad? Like,
but it was pressure for her, you know, or a class. And, you know, I'm good in science. Does that mean I have to be a scientist? No, doesn't mean it, but you want to, and I think it's happening earlier and earlier for young people these days, is you're being told earlier and earlier, unlike you and I were, hey, you need to know who you are and what you want to do. And let's get on that track and let's focus in on exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life right now. And you're going like, dude, I'm 14. You know what I mean? Can I just, I didn't know, man, 21 years old, I walked in the right bar at the right time and met a casting director and got cast in my first film, Dazed Confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do, who I was. I had a pretty good idea about who I was not, who I didn't want to be. But man, I didn't know who I was or what I wanted to be. I kind of hoped I'd be in front of the camera and telling stories and acting, but I wasn't sure. Didn't know if that was a pipe dream. And so when you're growing up, man, it's kind of like, have some hobbies, try some stuff out. If you dig it, good. If you don't, let's move on. And that's a lot of what the book's saying is, hey, it's all right.
So one of my favorite lines in it, everything you're saying is seriously just like stroking a chord with me in like the greatest way. Just because I got skills doesn't mean there's no luck. I mean, you just said you walked into a bar, you met a director, a casting director, and gave you your first shot. Do you think, like, how much of your life overall do you think has been luck? How much skill?
Right.
I like the quote, luck is preparation meets opportunity.
100%. And if you do skill up, you do tend to have more what would be called luck, I think. At the same time, you know, we know those people that don't skill up, and son of a gun if they just don't get lucky every time. Some people are just like, it's as also I think there's some people that are just like, man, if someone's going to get the short end of the stick, it's going to be him or her. They get it every time. But usually, I think, yeah, if you skill up and you prepare and you're looking for those opportunities, you're going to deem yourself lucky. Like when I look at my life, there's a lot of successes. Look, when I wrote the book Green Lights, I thought that 95% of my successes were ones that I engineered, meaning ones where I wrote the headline first and said, I'm going to go get that. And what I found out going through my journals, which where that book is, Green Lights is from, is that probably less than 50% of my success did I actually intentionally engineer. So over 50% were the invisible run-ins where I caught the red lights on the way to the club. And because I caught the red lights, I ran into the woman who was leaving, who ended up being my wife. You know what I mean? I mean, those things were like divine intervention. I mean, call it luck, call it fortune. How did it, or was in the right lane and was in the groove and caught the shortest lane in the supermarket and drove everywhere on the back roads and got there right on time. And then ran into the guy who ended up giving me a job at the advertising agency that I wouldn't have run into if I'd have been 30 seconds later. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I add those up and I go, boy, those aren't necessarily engineered. Now, they were opportunities and I had my eyes open for them and I was looking and I was hunting them. But over 50%, I'd say about 53 to 55% of the successes of my life were sort of the invisible, divine ones where I cannot add up. At the time, it had no science. At the time, I could not add up, oh, this is exactly what I was going for. Meaning, there's a lot of successes I've gone to chase And then along the way, took the feeder road and something else caught my eye. And that ended up becoming my success, not the original intent.
Do you believe in, like, we're talking about luck, talking about, divine intervention. Do you believe in, like, omens, like bad omens, if you will, or like bad energy, right?
Sure.
I mean, for the first time in a very long time, almost for the first time ever for me personally, my wife, she feels like she connects very much with like energies and stuff like that. She gets reads on people. And 99% of the time, she's usually right, by the way, which is, and she holds that over she doesn't hold it over my head, but she does remind me whenever we do get into conversation. She's like, do you remember this person? Do you remember this? Do you remember that? Do you remember this feeling? One of them being, we got on a flight once and like on a flight home, it was private jet for us, so it's just us two. But we're on there, and out of nowhere, we're like literally almost about to take off. She starts feeling like nauseous, like really nauseous and really sick, and she's got this really bad feeling. And she doesn't have a fear of flying. I'm looking at her, and I'm like, honey, like it's gonna be fine. Like, we're committed here. And we start to take off, and we're climbing, everything's fine. We're about like 20,000 feet in the air, and then we hear this thud on the side of the plane, and I open up the shader, and the window is split in half. Like a line, like a crack straight through the window. And dude, it was insane. So we go tell the pilot, and immediately, the co-pilot comes back and he's explaining to us like, listen, we're going to stop climbing because, we don't want to make more pressure as we climb up higher and higher. So we're going to stay at 30,000 feet, move to the other side of the plane in case it does like blow open.
Yeah. Oh, geez. That's reassuring.
Oh, 100%. This guy was very calm, though, which was really nice. But, he's just like, listen, just so you know, if we do lose pressure, the plane will dive, but we will be the ones doing it because we have to level out the pressure from the outside and inside of the cabin. So just know that. Anyways, so that's one little thing. And just now, the other day, man, I was golfing. I just took up golfing. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm addicted. It's a problem.
It's a good problem.
It's a good problem to have. I feel like I'm making a lot of improvements, and I'm super dedicated with it. But I was out in the morning. I was playing 9 holes. Just want to get a quick 9 holes in. There was like nobody in front of me as well for the tee time. So, I can be in and out in like 90 minutes. And I'm on the 9th hole and I'm waiting for these guys to finish. And out of nowhere, I hear this thud, and a dead bird literally lands right next to me. An adult, not a baby. Didn't fall out, right? And I'm just like, that was very odd. Like, there was no golf ball, right? There was no other noise. It was just the bird just slammed next to me, dude. And I'm just like, okay, that's weird. I come home 20 minutes later. Jess goes, honey, oh my God. She's like kind of like crying a little bit. Like just, she's like, can you please get the gloves and go take care of this bird? I'm like, what? And she goes, another bird was dead on our back porch, on our deck. 2 dead birds within 30 minutes. And then that same day, our Navi, like she started to get like a little bit more sick as well. Like, one of my other dogs bit one of my other dogs while I was taking them on a walk, and just like all this crazy shit. And then I have to travel to California the next day, right? And I'm already like, oh my God, I do not like this. This is when the hurricane was hitting, a 5.1 earthquake, just hit as well. While that, like, all this crazy shit's happening. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to go to this thing. I end up having some calls with my team, and they're like, listen, you're going. I'm like, okay. 6 o'clock comes by. The next day, my flight's at 8. The plane landed at 6 o'clock. I'm at 7:30. It's like 20 minutes away. I'm on my way. And I get a call from Jess, my wife. I'm like, dude, what is going on? I just said goodbye to her 20 minutes ago. Like, why is she calling? I answer, and immediately she's like, so you should turn around. I'm just like, what do you mean? She's like, the emergency light, like an emergency light flipped on with a plane, and they're diagnosing what it is. And like, it's this error. It ends up being this error that it makes the plane unflyable for like a week. So I'm sitting here, I come home, I'm looking at Jess, I'm like, honey, I am not going to this thing. Like, I can't leave. This all happened within 48 hours. Like, you want to talk about hitting a red light, hitting this, meeting this person, all these strings of things. And this doesn't happen to me. Like, and it can't just be a coincidence. If it is, it's one of the worst strings of like bad omen coincidences in a row. So I didn't go. Well,
Probably good. That math adds up not to go. I mean, 2 things on that. One, there's it's probably more than folklore, but there's definite opinions on knowing what bird it is. Identify the bird that zonked on you. Identify the bird that hit your window at your house. It happens at our house too. What type of bird is it that's coming? Because there's a message. All right. But it also depends on what type of bird that it is that's trying to get you the message. Some of them are good luck. Some of them are omens of like, hey, cool it, sit still, walk softly today. But there is, I'm not going to say some science behind it, but there is sort of an encyclopedia of it's more than superstition.
You're not trying to say like it's 100% serious, but you're saying there's it's been proven in multiple accounts, X amount of births of this, and right. So it's not a coincidence.
It's just damn interesting, and it feels a little more useful than just a straight horoscope read.
Right,
now,
100%.
The other thing that I find about that, and my wife is very empathic as well, is that, and she'll probably, I'm guessing she'll agree with this. I'm be curious if she would or if you would, but it's like you can't be looking for signs everywhere, because if you're looking for signs everywhere, you see a sign in everything, and you all of a sudden you become paralyzed and you're immobilized. You're like, I can't go anywhere. I see a sign in everything, right? But at the same time, it's like moving but being aware, and when they hit you or when you sort of coincidentally, I heard a friend of mine say coincidence is God's way of saying invisible. But coincidentally, something happens and you're like, oh, I was in the place to receive that. I'm the only one that saw that. I'm going to give that merit. I wasn't looking for the drama. I wasn't looking for the sign. My eyes were open and it just landed in front of me. Yes, I'm going to tab that one up as something to listen to. But it's a balance, because I know I've done that when I'm looking for signs. Sometimes I'm like, I'm finding them everywhere, and they're contradictory, and they argue with each other, and they don't make sense. And I'm going, whoa, I'm mentally midgetating here. I'm seeing too many details, too many signs, you know. And then on the other end, I've been in places where I'm just blowing through them, missing signs, you know. But there seems to be a balance in there of which ones to heed and which ones not to, you know. But it sounds like the math added up on yours. That was a good move not to go. That was enough. 2 birds, the dog, emergency alarm on the plane. No, I think I'll stay home and stay away from
all within
any
48 hours
equipment. Yeah.
No, for sure, man. And I've had a lot of, I've had enough issues with planes. I was like, no, thank you, man. And there was, the hurricane hitting California at the time. And dude, when you say that I was the only one, or you're the only one to see the sign, and that makes it a little bit more interesting. The fact that there was no one within 300 yards of me, and this bird literally landed within, striking distance, dude. I could have reached out my hand and it would have fallen into my hand.
Well, that's definitely your energy that drew that. I mean, look, we've had where my family has gone. We go on location, and we always get a house, right? Because the whole family goes. 2 of our locations, we moved in the house. There was not a bee in sight. 2 of our locations, a month after staying, a major honeycomb had been formed, and we had a full community of bees in the house.
In the house, in the walls,
in the wall, up in the ceiling. Now, I don't know. I kind of going, okay, I think we got some good frequency going over here, McConaughey. We're drawing the bees. You know what I mean? I hope so.
They say that the bees, the humming of bees, can actually cure certain diseases. And it might not have diseases. I think it might be more ailments of the mind. Yeah. Right. Where it sets your rhythm. People that go to sleep underneath a beehive, a honey beehive, obviously.
I'll buy that. Because it is a beautiful bass reverb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this podcast is just coincidence, man. Now that the more that we're talking, man, because I actually had, when I was living with my parents, our very first house in Illinois, we actually had a beehive as well, the size of a basketball, that was in our drywall in our basement, that formed one summer.
Here we go.
And I think, dude, it was, so the story is gnarly, man. It was one dead honeybee, right? Dead bee I found every single day, just one in the basement. And because I gamed the basement, so I was literally the only one that was seeing this. And it was one bee every day for 3 months. And I was like, this is just so strange. Why is it only one bee every time? Why is it every single day? Where are they coming from? How are they getting in, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. Well, fast forward, it's Christmas something, sometime in December. And I just got a present. I think I just opened up a Game Boy. It was one of the best gifts ever. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot something downstairs before I go to school. So I go downstairs and I just see, and it's dark, right? Because it's, 6 a.m, whatever. And I haven't turned the light on yet. And I just see this really thick just gathering of something on top of on top of one of like the little panels of our ceiling. Very noticeable, like darker than the whole room. I was like, what is that? And I turn on the light and there's just like 100 bees just literally cooped up on like a spot, like all just kind of like, buzzing around next to one another on top of the ceiling. And I like sprinted upstairs to shit myself. I was like, Mom! But
cool. I'd say that's good luck, man. I think bees fly to cool frequencies.
I love that. And, nothing bad happened. Obviously, they were able to relocate it, which was great. That's nutty, man. Like two bees just following you in two different homes. That's nuts.
2 full hives. And that bird landing next to you in your golf cart, I understand, like, sometimes houses, windows, they're like bird flight height and they don't see the window. And it's like, oh, dadgummit. And they hit the window and they go down. But you're out there in the middle of the course on a cart and you got a bird doing a nosedive right next to you. That's saying there's definitely a message there for you, bud.
Yep. I'm glad I took it. I feel a lot better. And I felt like a huge wave of relief come over me once we decided that we were going to stay. And I've never felt like I don't get nervous traveling, like ever. I'm very used to it. I travel all the time. I'm sure you understand the feeling of when you have to, you're going to be on the road a lot. But this one was just different. So,
yeah.
AFK with Ninja. It's AFK with Ninja.
You have 3 children. My brother has 3 children as well. I'm starting to be a much more involved uncle in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that my brother's decided to do is, I think, not letting his kids, and I would say not letting his kids because they're not really asking to play, but he's given them absolutely no like online presence whatsoever, which is incredible because they're not even teenagers yet. But also has not let them they don't have an Xbox, they don't have a PlayStation, they're not they don't have a computer.
Yep.
So, and your son Levi recently just joined Instagram publicly at 15 years old.
Yep.
I'd love to talk to you about the decision to wait and how that all came about.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really important nowadays.
Yeah, I think so. He's 15. He's been talking to us about wanting to get on social media for over 2 years. He surfs, he understands, the power of that and the being online, the communication, even the opportunities, for having a little business. Anyway, he's wanted to, and we just tried to, for 2 years, we said, well, come to us. What's your story, man? A little bit of that, who are you? Without saying who you got to be, but you're growing up and you're going to be sharing yourself. Like, what would you see? What do you see your story as? What do you want to sell? What do you want to put out there? And you don't have to know who you are, but who are you right now? How are you feeling? What are you interested in? What kind of thing would you like to share? So he started making presentations for us. And they were a little all over the place, but they were pretty good. And then he started to go online. We said, well, come back and, tell us whose site, social media feeds you like and why. Show someone's you don't like and why. Let's bring a post of somebody you like that got the most hits and let's discuss why you think they got the most hits. Bring a post of somebody you like that you love the post, but didn't get the most hits, so maybe it wasn't everyone else's favorite post. So try to get him to just define these things to us. And then the other thing, which we're going to find out now that he's on it, which is, hey, if you can be Levi and do what you love to do, and then go, oh, this would be a great social media moment. This would be a great IG moment, TikTok moment. Rather than wake up and go, what's going to be a good IG moment? What's going to be a good TikTok moment? I want to go do that. Because I go, then you'll be putting the cart in front of the horse. You'll be letting your aspirations wag your dog, so to speak. You know what I mean? So as I said, and the releasing his mom and I put it, he's a really considerate young man. He's super cool, super considerate, really great to be around, interesting, smart, funny. And I hope, the people, the community that communicate with him or feedback and he engages with, treat him the same. But we've let him know that it's not going to be everybody. And I said, when somebody comes back at you and trolls you or whatever, it does not feel good. I'm 53. I've made successful movies. I'm your dad. I'm a grown man, an adult. And if I get a bad review in a movie I do, it does not feel great, And even if it's false, you walk out the door and you start to see people, even strangers, and you're wondering, are they looking at me believing that false thing? And it physiologically can kind of, affect you. And so just to admit that that's real, to admit that we are all vulnerable to that he will be as well, is the start. And his mother was a little more nervous about it than I am, but we gave him 2 years of really convincing us about how and why and what his story would be. And he kind of had a 2-year practice run, a runway up to launch. So he's doing it now. He's enjoying it. It's not consuming his every mental moment, which is great, but he is really interested in it, and he's going to learn here along the way.
That is genius. I love that. Like, what do you like? What do you don't like? What's getting hits? What's not getting hits? And then also the cart in front of the horse thing. I literally lived that life where it was like, okay, what am I going to create today? What am I going to create today? With streaming and when Fortnite was popping off, it was always, what's the next clip? What's the next post? And I have severely, and I try so hard, and I have like these moments where I kind of get back into posting a lot on social media, like Twitter, Insta, all that stuff. Very brief moments, like splash in the water, dude. And then I'm constantly reminded and brought back to, as somebody who's been through it all for like 12 years, living a public life, streaming, being live 8 hours a day or more. Like, I love living in the moment more now than ever. But it's almost like I don't want to say like a curse. I don't even like taking pictures with my wife sometimes because I've taken so many pictures. I've recorded so many videos. It's just like, I don't want, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do this. I want to just like, can't we just like have this dinner or, and then.
Yeah. I remember after I got famous off this movie, Time to Kill, and my life changed. All of a sudden, the world was a mirror for me. All of a sudden, everyone kind of knew my biography. People would come up and go, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry about Miss Hud." And I don't even know this person. And in my mind, I'm going, number one, how'd you know I had a dog? Number two, how'd you know her name was Miss Hud? Number three, how'd you know she had cancer? You just skipped, like, before you even said, "Hi, my name is," you just skipped 3 layers into my life. And I'm like, whoa, felt like you were trespassing, you know what I mean? And I remember going through times where when I would go home, even for family vacations, and a family picture at Thanksgiving or Christmas, I would get anxious. Like, guys, what do we got to record this for? What do we need proof for? We're here. Yeah. Put the camera down.
Literally, dude. Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one that has struggled with that. So
no, that's a real deal.
I think you did it right, man. I think a lot of parents can definitely learn from that, and instead of just giving them, first off, shoving technology in their kid's face just to kind of get some time away. That's definitely a no. But I think you did it right. I think you did it the right way. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised and happy with, hopefully, how Levi takes this responsibility. Because I don't think there's any people doing what you did.
Yeah, I hope so. I think he's got a head on his shoulders to be able to navigate it. And also, hopefully, he's going to be honest and be accessible and share accessibly with me and his mom about, hey, this doesn't feel good, or I bogeyed here, I screwed up here, and let's just openly talk about it. Because, the other thing is with success, and I'm sure you know this, the world could exaggerate our success or whatever we put out. They can start to go, oh, that's exactly who you are, so I expect that at the highest level. And all of a sudden, it can get away from you. And you're like, man, that's not only who I am, but the world's going, no, that is who you are. And you're like, whoa, am I married now to this one story of myself? I got some other things I want to show. And when you try to show something else, the world goes, no, go back to the thing we love.
Oh my God. I mean, I wanted to keep going in for hours. I definitely could have talked to you forever, man. Matthew, this was incredible. But I got 2 questions that I ask everybody at the end of the podcast. Are you ready?
Yep.
So if you had to delete, this one's really simple, but also could be very important. If you had to delete all but 3 apps from your phone, which ones would you keep?
Ooh, all but 3 apps. I would keep, does camera count?
No, I would say camera doesn't count. Text messages don't count.
Safari doesn't count. Okay.
Safari doesn't count. Gmail doesn't count either.
Okay.
Google.
I'm keeping notes because that's sort of my mobile diary, a mobile journal. I'm keeping Wikipedia, which I'm a big fan of. And I'm keeping... Dude, I got a guilty pleasure. You ready for this one?
Yeah,
I still love this thing. You're going to laugh. I love Candy Crush, man.
No, dude. Is that your time killer, man?
It's a time killer, man. But I'm writing, I have a paper. I'm writing about why I think the lessons that you can learn from that simple little game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm gonna have to, dude. My guilty pleasure is Pokemon Go, which you can't play when you're, in the air or anything like that. But Candy Crush, no way. All right.
Some people out there going, what? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
That was, dude. You hit me with notes. You hit me with Wikipedia. I think the last thing I thought you were gonna say was Candy Crush. This is your third one, man. I was ready for something else.
No, I went low hanging fruit on you.
All right. And then the final question, man. AFK stands for away from keyboard. That's the literal definition, the name of the podcast. But what do you do when you are AFK? This can be like
away from keyboard.
Yeah. So it's like when you're gaming and you need to, yeah. So like, this is more of like a philosophical question. What do you do when you're away from keyboard? What do you do when you're away from work?
I play tennis. It's my new hobby. Like you just found golf. I just found tennis and I'm head over heels for it, man. I get 2 hours. I miss it. I think about it. I dream about it. I get to one of those games that I'm feeling the actual measurable improvement every time I go out there, and that's getting me off.
I love that. And I'm kind of getting that with golf too.
Yeah,
and just, that's incredible. All right, Matthew, man, thank you so much for coming, man. And
Tyler,
being here.
great stuff,
incredible.
man. Look forward to talking to you and I look forward to the next time. And if my son runs into a little pothole with the social media, I'm gonna hit you up to give him a chat.
100%. I'm looking forward to it, man. And there you have it, good folks. We've reached the end of another epic AFK with Ninja episode. If you've enjoyed the journey thus far, please consider leaving a rating, review, and hitting that follow button. We have a ton of incredible guests coming your way, and I want you to be the first to know when new episodes drop. Join us every single week. Until next time, I'll catch you soon.
In a realm of code and light, ninja skills shine through the night. Gaming dreams he set to chase, a legend in the digital space. Destiny had a different plan, bringing McConaughey to the clan. Two worlds collide in a game so fine. Ninja and Matthew intertwine. Gamer Ninja McConaughey, a partnership an unexpected way. One conquers games with speed and flair, the other's a star with stories to share. Laughs and victories embrace Ninja McConaughey. They race through pixels and screens, a journey vast, a unique friendship built to last.